Hello again and welcome to part 2 of programming microcontrollers. So the first thing that you're going to do is to plug in your jack plug to the stereo jack socket on your microcontroller circuit. So this will enable you to download your program onto the microcontroller. Now for today we're going to be programming this flowchart, this pre-designed flowchart on our Pickaxe editor software. And on this flowchart we have written that when the program will start, it's going to make a decision and check whether the switch is on. If switch is on, the yellow light turns on, and then it will wait for 1 second and then the yellow light will turn off. Then, if switch is off, the yellow lights will obviously stay off. Now let's start designing the program. And I'm going to continue on last time's program, the one that we did during the last lesson. So first of all, I'm going to be deleting these access arrows. And then I'm going to move up red LED turns on right under the yes decision on when switch is on. Now remember, on this circuit I do not have yellow LEDs, but instead I have red. So I'm always going to be substituting yellow with red. Now, according to our designed flowchart, this red LED should stay on for 1 second. Okay, it states wait for 1 second. So the wait time is 1 second. Now let's change the label like we did last time. Click on edit and then change the cell label. Here I typed in wait for 1 second and then click on OK. And then, of course, the LED is going to turn off. So I clicked and dragged the low output command. I'll set it on output pin C4 where I have my red LED. And then I'm going to edit the cell label. And here I'm going to write, similarly to what I have on my designed flowchart, I'm going to write red LED turns off. Now of course I don't want this function to happen only once, I want it to always happen all the time, so I'm going to create what is called a loop. Okay, so the program will restart. So first, press on line and then create a flow line from the last command when LED turns off back to the start. So the program will restart again. Now what we're going to do is to check our program. Before we program, of course, click on this ABC check icon to check for errors in our program, and then go ahead and click on program once there is no errors. So wait for the program to download on your microcontroller. Okay, here we have an LED turning on to show you that a program is being downloaded. And when it turns off, now it's time for you to test out the program to see whether it works. Now let's remove the jack plug from the socket and let's test our circuit. So this LED will light up when I press this tactile switch. And as you can see, the switch is lighting up for 1 second and then it switches off again. Let's try it one more time. Okay, and that's a success. So let's try and build on this program. So this time what I'm going to do is that when this LED switches off after 1 second, the other one will turn on for another 1 second and then switch off again. So let's program that. So let's plug in our jack plug once more into the socket and let's edit our program. Now the first thing that I'm going to do is to delete this loop right here. Now here I have accidentally deleted the last command. I'm going to recreate it once more. So let's do that quickly. So let's click and drag a low output command. Let's edit the pin. Let's set it on C4. And let's edit the cell label. Red LED turns off. That's what you should have labeled on your output command. And you know what? I'm going to change the labels here so I would know which LED I'm turning on or off. So I'm going to edit the label of the first output command, and I'm going to write down that the right LED, right red LED, is going to turn on. Now I'm going to edit the command what happens when the switch is off. So I'm going to write that the right LED will turn off whenever the switch is off. On the other output command, I'll write the same. Right red LED turns off, obviously after 1 second. Now let's continue. So after this command, I'm going to once again wait for another 1 second. So this LED will stay off for 1 second. Let's write that down. So wait for 1 second and then click on OK. And then what's going to happen is that the other LED is going to turn on. So click and drag on a high output command. Set the pin on C0, which is the pin where you have the other LED connected to it. And type in that the left LED is going to turn on. So left red LED turns on. Then you're going to click and drag a wait command to add delay to your circuit once again. So make sure that the wait time is set for 1 second and then change the label. Change the label to wait for 1 second. And you're going to click and drag a low output command. Set the pin on C0 because C0 is where we have the left LED. And on cell label, you're going to add the label to left LED, left red LED turns off. And then click on OK. So let's revise everything now. So right red LED turns on, wait for 1 second, right red LED turns off, wait for 1 second, left red LED turns on, wait for 1 second again, and then the left red LED will turn off again. Now of course I don't want this function to happen only once, so let's draw a loop. So click on the line command and create a flow line from the last command to the start. And here I'm going to edit this command when the switch is off. Make sure that you have both C4 and C0 off and edit the label. And as a cell label, I wrote that right and left red LEDs turn off. Then you're going to click on check to check your program for errors. It's always good practice to check for errors because otherwise your program or microcontroller will not work or you might cause damage to your circuit. and then click on Program and wait for the program to download. Alright, now let's test out our circuit. Now let's remove the jack plug and let's see if it works. So let's press the tactile switch once, and there you go, the right LED turns on once and then the other. And the program, since it has a loop, it keeps on working, okay? It doesn't do the command only once. So now that we have made our program, now it's time to save our work. Now to save your work, you have to go to File on the menu bar, then click on Save As, click where you want to save your work. Here I'm going to save my work on the desktop. Then on the File Name field, you're going to name your file. So here I'm going to name this file as Second Microcontroller Demo, and then click on Save. If you're doing this in a classroom, make sure to add your name as well in the file name, so your teacher and yourself will be able to recognize which work is yours. Okay, now let's close the program. And here we have our saved file. I hope you found this video interesting. Now see you on the next one.